so that's what we did. But,
did you attend church at this point on Sundays?
Well, when I first went to, came to Akron, and when I lived at the first place, Kent's, the daughter, well, the fellow I roomed with was Catholic. He took me to a Catholic church.
I see.
And then Ann Kent, she took me to the church, I don't know what it was, Methodist or something, where they went. And then I went, there was East Market Street Reformed Church, and the church I went to at home was Reformed Church. So I thought, well, I'll try that East Market Street Reformed Church. So I went down there, and there after, I don't know, a month or something like that, well, I met Viv.
I see. That's where you met Mom at church?
Yeah, I met her.
What year would that be? This first year?
That would be in, well...
I mean, you got there in November...
that might have been in 27.
27.
Yeah. Yeah, but 27. Yeah. Because I had been there a while.
Right.
And then so, yeah, then I met Viv there. And
how did you meet her?
Well,
I mean, did you sit next to her in a pew or something, or?
I probably, they had a young people's meeting, you know, in the evening. See, I wonder if I don't believe they had evening church, but they had young people. Christian Endeavor was the young people. The Reformed churches, well, Christian Endeavor was national thing at that time, big thing.
Like
Christian Endeavor Society.
Was it for young people?
Yeah.
Like a Youth for Christ or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. That was the thing, Christian Endeavor.
Right.
And they had, so I went to that because I attended that at home.
And it was like a social thing too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And there I met Viv, and then I don't know, just met her once or so, and then I was at church, and she came after church, and she said, would you like to come home and eat dinner with us?
Just after a couple of, you just been talking to her and been with her at church.
Yeah. And she said, well, would you like to come home and eat dinner with us?
Now, how old would she have been at that point?
She must have been...
Because you just turned 18, right?
Who?
You just turned 18.
Yeah, I was just...
So Mom would have been like 16 or something like that.
She was 16.
Just graduating from, just having graduated from East High.
Yeah.
Because she graduated at 16, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was just, she was just a graduate.
So
where was she working at that point, or?
She was.
She working for Harry or not?
Oh, she was the church. She was working as like the secretary at the church.
Oh, she was.
They called her assistant. Well, I thought that they called her assistant pastor. I don't know if they said assistant to the pastor.
But that's pretty good for a 16-year-old woman. She had a responsible position in the church.
That's where she was. She was
I'll be darned.
Working there. And so, well...
when she asked you to come home with her to eat, you know, were you surprised?
Well, I suppose I was, you know, but
Was she attractive? I mean, were you interested in her?
Yeah. So I said, sure, you know, sure. So her mother came with a car. She had apparently walked to church.
Garnet?
And Garnet came with the car and picked us up.
What kind of a car would that have been?
That was a, what did they have? A Dodge, I believe it was.
Did they have a nice car, or was it just a car?
It was a nice Dodge, a Dodge four-door sedan, you know. It was a nice car.
At that point, would they have been considered well-to-do as a family? I don't mean wealthy necessarily, but I mean, were they getting along fine, or were they having trouble at that point?
Well, they were having trouble at that point.
Was that because of his problems with Goodyear?
Yeah, because Goodyear had gone broke, and they had given Harry ordinarily they paid him every month, you know, for his meat. And he had run up a bill, or they had run up a bill. They hadn't paid him for 3 months, and they owed him $84,000.
Which would have been a lot of money in those
days. Which at that time,
I mean, a lot of money.
$84,000. What would it from that time, as compared to today, what would it be? And
A lot of it.
and so they gave him preferred stock.
Yeah, instead of
To pay off the
to pay
debt.
off the debt.
But the preferred stock
Wasn't worth anything.
It was. He said you could go into the factory and there were skids of rubber and so on, and everything had a tag on it. You know, that is, I forget what the tag said, but it was.
Goodyear was like going bankrupt.
Yeah, they were like bankrupt. And
So they had been having Nana and Harry, or Garnet and Harry, when you first met Mom, had been having a pretty good life, a very good life.
Oh yeah.
But now they were losing part of it. They were in harder times a little bit because he was not being able to pay his debts because Goodyear wasn't paying him.
Well, yeah. Well, this stock then.
Yeah.
He had had three meat markets, but the one apparently where he was furnishing Goodyear with the meat, that he had put in a cooler at the time.
One of the first refrigeration systems in Akron, I guess.
The first, and he owed for that, so he gave him the stock that he got
to pay off.
He got him to pay that off.
Right.
And then also he began to have a problem with his lungs. Went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, it was from him going in and out of the freezer, and that he would have to get out of that business, you know. So he started studying law. Now I don't know just when he started studying, but he was studying law. And
when you met Mom, he was studying law already?
Pardon?
When you met Mother, he was studying law already?
Yeah, he was studying law at that time.
Did he own the market still?
He was working part-time as a butcher for somebody else.
I see. Somebody had purchased the market.
Yes. Yeah.
So he didn't own it anymore?
No, he didn't.
He had to give it up?
He had to give it up.
Because Goodyear couldn't pay him?
Goodyear couldn't pay him, and he went broke. So, yeah, he was working as a butcher.
So did they live over there on that house?
They lived on Irene Avenue there,
on
right?
Irene.
Yeah, right.
That great big double house like...
yeah, great big...
That I remember.
Three-story house, you know.
We lived on the third floor.
We lived on the third floor.
And behind was the Goby, we called it, the great big dust area there.
In the field.
In the track, we called it the Goby.
Yeah, we called it the Goby.
Yeah. Were those walls there then too? Those great big, you know, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that was all in the back, behind the house right there.
Yeah. So,
in the garage, they had a big triple garage like or something.
Yeah, they had
quite a bit of space.
Double garage, or big building shed there.
Right.
Cement block shed.
So when you met Mom.
So yeah, when I met her, then I started, you know, they liked, her folks liked me.
Yeah.
And
Harry liked
Harry, yeah, Harry, and they liked me. And so...
you know, Mother told me once that you married Harry. He said Harry really liked you, and she said, he married my father.
Well, what would happen, sometimes I would go down on like Saturday night, I would go down to see her, and her dad, and I, and John, and then the fellow that roomed there, Kip, a fellow that roomed with them for years, and he had worked in the butcher shops too with them, see. He was working at a rubber shop at that time. We would sit down and start playing cards. And I don't know, 11 o'clock or something would come, and Bill would say, well, I'm going up to bed.
I see.
And we would play cards till, I don't know, 1 o'clock, and then we'd stop and raid the refrigerator, and then we'd play some cards some more. And maybe I would, sometimes, then I would just lie down on the couch downstairs there and sleep, you know, for the rest of the night, and be there the next day and
get up and go to work.
Well, the next day would be Sunday.
Oh, I see.
And so I'd be there for...
So you kind of ignored her part of the time and just played cards with Harry and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And, yeah. So, I got along real good with Harry and Garnet, you know. And so that was it, you know. Of course, I got along good with Viv. I liked Viv. And that's the way it worked out.